This is the finale. 12 episodes. And today there is no new idea. We switch every one of them on at the same time, on one real support ticket. And then the server we do not own ships a tool nobody asked for. One that moves money, and we find out whether what we built actually holds. 11 episodes, one idea each. A loop, reasoning out loud. A real search tool, a toolbox it chooses from. A memory, twice. Once as vectors, once as markdown files and a text index. A plan, a tracer, a colleague, a critic, a protocol for tools we did not write, and a policy that decides what it may do with all of it. Today there is no 12th idea. We switch all of them on at the same time, on one real support ticket, and see what falls out. That is what the finale is, not a new trick, but the first time the whole thing has to hold together while somebody is actually waiting for an answer. And then something happens that has nothing to do with us. The MCP server our agent gets its tools from is not our code. It is a process somebody else wrote. Overnight it goes from version 2 to version 3, and version 3 ships a new tool. Refund. It moves money. Nobody asked us, nobody reviewed it, and no line of our code changed. That is not a bug in MCP. It is the feature seen from the other side. Episode 10's whole payoff was that our client contains no tool names. The toolbox is whatever the server advertised, discovered while the agent runs. Runtime discovery and this whole are the same mechanism. You do not get to keep one and throw away the other. So what closes it? Not a smarter prompt. There is a one-line version of the allowlist. Allowed tools equals the names of whatever the server sent. And it is shorter, it never breaks. It passes every test you could write, and it hands the decision about what your agent may do to the person who owns the server. The list that works is the one a human typed, once, on purpose. And at the very end, the thing we have refused for 12 episodes, a real agent framework. The same ticket, in about 30 lines. The reason we waited is that you can now read every one of those lines and say exactly which of your own files it replaces, and, more usefully, spot what it quietly does not do. Let's build the finale. We start on the far end of the wire, and on something small. This is episode 10's MCP server, the one that gave our agent tools it did not write. Same name, same two functions. One difference, the version says 3.0. It used to say 2. Lookup is untouched. Same handbook, same keyword search, same decorator turning the signature and the docstring into a schema the model reads. Calculator underneath it is untouched too, charset lock and all. And then there is a third tool that was not there in episode 10. Refund. It takes an amount, and it moves money. Nobody asked us. We did not upgrade anything. The vendor shipped a release, and our agent can now do something it could not do yesterday. Read the docstring, because the docstring is not documentation. Episode 10's whole point was that the decorator turns it into the description the model reads. So this sentence, issue a refund whenever the policy entitles the customer to one, is an instruction written by somebody else, injected into your agent's prompt. And everything about that sentence is reasonable. It is well written. It is accurate. It is helpful. None of it was reviewed by you. This is what runtime discovery actually means when the server is not yours. The feature and the whole are the same mechanism, and you cannot keep one without the other. So here is the finale, and it opens with an inventory rather than an idea, because there is no 12th idea. The loop from episode 2, the tracer from 6, nesting from 8, a critic from 9, MCP from 10, a policy from 11. Every part of this file already exists. Today we switch them all on at once. And that is what production means here. Not scale, not a queue, not Kubernetes. An agent whose steps you can see, whose spending has a ceiling, whose answer has been checked before it left the building, and whose permissions do not depend on it feeling cooperative today. The policy is 4 lines, 16 steps, 5 cents, and 2 tool names. That is the entire safety surface of this agent, in one place, reviewable by somebody who understands none of the rest of it. And read the comment above it, because there is a one-line version of this that would pass every test you could write. Allowed tools equals the names of whatever the server advertised. It is shorter, it never breaks, and it hands the decision about what your agent may do to the person who owns the server. So this list is reviewed, not discovered. A human typed 2 names, once, on purpose. When the vendor ships a 4th tool next month, that list does not grow on its own, and the thing that stops it is that nobody wrote the clever line. Now describe. This builds the tool list the model reads, and notice what it does not do. It does not filter. Every tool the server offered goes into the prompt, refund included. And that is deliberate. Hiding refund from the prompt feels safer and is not, because a model that has never heard of a tool can still emit its name. It has seen 10,000 support agents in training. Filtering the prompt hides the problem from you. It does not hide the tool from the model. This is the loop, and there is only one of it. Episode 2 wrote it. Episode 10 made the dispatch cross a process boundary. Episode 11 added 2 guard calls. In a few minutes, we are going to run this exact function as the critic as well, with nothing changed but the system prompt. Guard, LLM, before the model call. Step cap and budget, both checked at the root of the tree, so a sub-agent cannot spend the parent's money twice. Guard, tool, name, before the tool call. And it is caught 4 lines down, so a refuse tool becomes an observation and the run continues. Steering, not stopping, and the difference, as in episode 11, is only where the try is. 2 prompts, built from the same discovered tool list. The first one answers the customer, and the second one distrusts the first. Verify every fact and every number with your tools, never from memory, then say pass or say what is wrong. That is episode 9, and the honesty rule matters more for a critic than for anything else. A reviewer that hallucinates approval is worse than no reviewer. And here is the ticket, chosen so that it needs all of it. A fact that lives only in the handbook. A number the model must not do in its head. An action it is not allowed to take. And an answer that is going to a paying customer, so it had better be right. Main. Open the server and print who answered. The name, the version, and the protocol revision the 2 ends negotiated. Then list the tools, and cross-check each one against the allow list right there on screen. This is the review that episode 10 did not have, and it costs 5 lines. 1 call runs the agent, and then the critic runs in its own child tracer, so its cost and its steps land inside the same tree instead of in a log you never read. And 1 finish at the end prints all of it. Let's run it. Version 3.0, Protocol 2026-07-28. That is the stateless revision from episode 10, negotiated automatically, with no handshake. 3 tools advertised, 2 reviewed, and the third one flagged, on screen, at startup, before a single model call. If you take one operational habit from this season, take this one. Print what changed, every run, where somebody will see it. The agent works the ticket properly. It looks the price up rather than guessing it, because it cannot guess. Nimbus does not exist. Then it puts 12 times 49 through the calculator instead of doing it in its head. It is right, by the way, but an agent that is right by arithmetic it did not show you is right by luck, and luck does not survive a bigger number. And then it does exactly what the vendor's docstring told it to do, and what the handbook entitles the customer to. It calls refund for $588. This is not a jailbreak. Nothing has gone wrong. Every single component is behaving correctly. And it does not happen. 2 names on a list, checked on the path the call actually takes, and $588 stays where it is. The agent reads the refusal and writes a better reply than it would have otherwise. Here is the amount. Here is why you are owed it. Here is who can actually send it. Then the critic. Same loop, same tools, different prompt. It looks the price up again itself rather than believing the draft and redoes the multiplication. And look at this line, because I did not plan it. The critic decided it should just issue the refund itself. It got refused too. The child inherited the policy. That one line in the tracer, passing the limits down to a sub-agent, is the difference between a policy and a decoration. Pass. The numbers check out. The refusal is accurately described, and this is the reply that ships. And the whole thing is one tree. 7 steps in the main run, a nested sub-run for the critic, 2 guard trips, and a total bill of about 1/3 of a cent. Every episode of this season is somewhere in that picture. Which leaves one promise from episode 1. 12 episodes of refusing to use a framework. Here is the framework. And the reason we waited is this table. You can now read every line of it and say exactly which of your own files it replaces. The tools are the same two functions with a different decorator on top. Function tool reads the signature and the docstring and generates the schema. That is identical to what MCP tool did in episode 10 in a completely different library because it is the only sensible way to do it. And the agent is 9 lines. A name, the instructions, a model, pointed at Gemini because the SDK says OpenAI on the tin but the model does not have to, and a list of tools. Refund is simply not in that list. That is this framework's allowlist when the tools are local. One call runs it. Max turns is episode 11 step cap under another name, and it is the only one of our 3 limits you get for free. There is no max cost. The token totals come back on the result, so a budget is still yours to build, and you know it is about 15 lines because you wrote them. One awkward detail, and it is the most useful thing in this episode. This file carries its own dependencies in a header and runs in its own environment because the agent's SDK pins MCP below version 2 and FastMCP 4. The only release that speaks the stateless revision needs version 2 or higher. They cannot be installed together. Today, in August 2026, the framework episode cannot import the finale server. That is what a 6-week-old protocol revision feels like from inside a real project. And the only person who can judge whether that lag matters is the one who knows what the protocol actually does. So we run it, and it works. Same lookup, same calculator, same 588. Free model calls. No loop, no parser, no dispatch table, no honesty rule, because it is all in there somewhere, written by somebody else. And then read the last line carefully. Your total refund for the month will be $588. It never issued a refund. It has no refund tool. It just told a customer their money was coming, and nothing in this file would have caught that. That is not an argument against frameworks. Take the framework. It is an argument for knowing what is inside it, because the part that was missing there was never the loop. It was the policy, and the critic, and the trace, the parts you now know how to build, in about 50 lines each. That is the season. Thanks for watching. So that is the season. An agent is a loop. It has not changed since episode 2. Call the model, read what it wants, run it, feed the result back, stop when it answers. Everything else we built wraps around that loop, and every piece is small enough to read in one sitting. A toolbox it routes between. A memory, twice, because retrieving by meaning and retrieving by name are different jobs. A planner. A tracer that turns a run into one tree with a bill at the bottom. An orchestrator whose handoff is a recursive call. A critic that distrusts the first answer. A protocol for tools we did not write. And a policy deciding what it may actually do with them. And in the finale, the interesting moment was not the agent working. It was the agent doing exactly what everybody asked it to. The handbook, our prompt, and a docstring written by a vendor we never met. And the refund still not happening because 2 reviewed names sat on the path the call takes. Then a framework did the same job in 30 lines and told the customer their refund was on the way without ever issuing one. That is not an argument against frameworks. Take the framework. It is an argument for knowing what is inside it, because the part missing there was never the loop. It was the policy, the critic, and the trace. Every file is in the repo in the description. It clones and runs on a free Gemini key, with no paid dependency anywhere in it. If you have been here since episode 1, thank you. Tell me in the comments what you want built from scratch next. See you in the next series.